Well, hello and welcome to the Hornback podcast. This is episode number 36. 36, and we're going to talk about KUB, Knoxville Utilities Board. This Tuesday, June the 29th, the City Council will meet to decide on approving what KUB has proposed, which the KUB board has proposed, of creating a fifth utility. That's a broadband utility, otherwise known as a fiber utility. So KUB is wanting to get into the broadband market. And that's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one is that KUB had been asked for years to get into the broadband market, primarily because down in Chattanooga, EPB, which is the Electric Public Board, I believe is what it's called, is what it referred to. EPB, which is the electric provider down there, has been providing broadband and has been very successful in doing the broadband in Chattanooga. And so it was natural that when people saw how successful Chattanooga was, they thought that that KUB could be as successful. KUB didn't really want to get into the broadband until they began to see that they need to upgrade their electric infrastructure, the wiring. When they realized they had to upgrade their electric grid or infrastructure, they began to decide about broadband, because when you upgrade the electric fiber, then you can also bring along the fiber broadband. And all of this I'm finding out through a public meeting that I attended back in May. They had two public meetings. They had one in May, which had about 125, 150 people show up. Then they had one first part of June at the Change Center in East Knoxville. Between all the emails, the letters, these two public hearings, they've heard from about 300 people. And they say that 90% of those 300 contacts have been supportive. Now, what you got to understand is that in order to do this upgrade, in order to create this fiber division, they've got to obviously pay for it, right? And so what they're paying for is they're paying for to run the fiber to the electric, okay? So over the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to have about a 3% increase to the electric customers. Now, for those of us, I live in southwest Knox County. My electric is not from KUB. My water and my sewer is not from KUB. The only thing that KUB provides for me is natural gas. And so these increases, this 9% increase over 3 years, is not going to affect me. In fact, their fiber is not going to affect me, because their fiber is not going to come to me. It's only going to go to those people that are in the electric grid, which is predominantly like Knoxville going east into Union and Granger and Sevier. So those are the people who are going to have to pay the increases. And those are the people who are going to get the broadband. Now, it's going to take 7 years for this broadband. Now, they're going to increase the electric rates 9% over 3 years, but it's going to take up 7 years to cover everybody with fiber, with the broadband. And so what they've done is that they've gotten approval from the city mayor, and she's endorsed it. And obviously, it's believed that the city council, because the mayor has endorsed it, that they will the city council will approve it Tuesday night. They've gotten approval from the Union County mayor. He spoke at the first public meeting, fully in support of it, because it'll cover about 70% of his community in Union County. 70% of Union County will be covered by this broadband, which will only leave about a 30% portion of Union County without broadband. And here's the thing. I'm not opposed to KUB getting into broadband. I think what they've done, though, is they've gotten into it too fast. They haven't considered other options. Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs had wanted to get all the providers together because obviously Comcast and other providers could do a public-private partnership with the city, with KUB. And what Comcast is saying is that there would be no need for the 9% increase over 3 years to electric customers. Obviously, KUB wants everything they can get, as most utilities would. But it's just kind of funny that KUB has been late to the party on this. KUB promised, from what I am told, they promised public meetings in all 9 city council districts. They had 2. They had one over at the Expo Center over on Clinton Highway and Merchants Road. I believe that's in City Council District 3, and they had one in East Knoxville, which was City District 6. So they didn't hear from the 1st District, the 2nd District, the 4th District, the 5th District, the 7th District, the 8th District, and the 9th District. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, there's not 9. My bad. I'm thinking county commission here. They didn't hear from the 1st. They didn't hear from the 2nd. They didn't hear from the 4th. They didn't hear from the 5th. And then the other 3 council members are at large. So that's my bad. So, this thing's just been kind of rushed. Here's my fundamental issue with KUB and broadband. The problem is that the people who really are wanting the broadband, who are demanding the broadband, who are adamant about the broadband, are frustrated because they haven't been able to get Comcast or Charter or AT&T or any of the other providers to give the service at at what they consider an affordable rate. So what they've done is they've run to the city, wanting it as a necessity. Sorry about that. As a necessity. As they're saying that internet service is required. Electricity is required. Water is required. Natural gas, if you've got a heat and air system, is required. I don't see that. I haven't bought into the fact that internet is a required utility. I worked for a company when I had to rely on dial-up. I would have to walk away from my computer for moments at a time, minutes at a time, and wait for documents to download. That's before high-speed internet. That was before broadband. And so, again, you could find a job, you could perform your job, I believe, without high-speed internet. I know that, but and I'm just as much as a fan of internet as anybody. I rely on the internet for people to read brianhornback.com. I rely on people with the internet to be able to download the Brian Hornback podcast. But my issue is that the problem is that when you couldn't get the free market to produce it in a timely manner, you ran to the government and you're asking the government to fix it. And that therein lies my beef. My beef is that we shouldn't rely on the government or a government entity like KUB to be the answer to what the free market wouldn't do. Now, granted, with everything that's happened, the free market is moving quicker now. The LCUB is beginning to look at Broadband. That's the electric provider in West Knoxville. Obviously KUB is going to do it. But it's and so now the private sector is kind of stepping up on it, and so that's interesting. That's what's caused that to happen. But again, I think what we're doing is, I think what's happened is there's been this rush to create this KUB broadband, and I think it's a rush that is not properly been vetted. I think the county mayor should have, instead of when the county mayor asked for a meeting with all the providers on June the 14th, and KUB chose to not show up. I think that was wrong of KUB to do that. I think they should, instead of more or less the perception that they have done a backroom deal with the city in getting the city to endorse this with 90% of 300 people approving it, with a 9% electric increase over 3 years to fund the fiber. And here's the thing: they say, well, this is a loan. This is a loan to create the fiber. Well, are you gonna take that 9%? Are you gonna refund it back after you fully implement the fiber in 7 years? Are you going to make the citizens whole again? I don't think so. I think you're going to keep that. And here's the real problem, is the fact that you're going to take a 9% increase over 3 years. Some people are going to pay for that for 6 years, 6.5 years, before they ever see the fiber installed, before they ever get the option of purchasing the broadband. There's going to be some customer somewhere that's going to be at the end of the line that's going to have been paying 9%, 3% the first year, 3% the second year, 3% increase the third year, and then the fourth year is going to be 9%, the fifth year is going to be 9%, sixth year is going to be 9%, and then toward the end of the sixth year, provided KUB was able to do this provided their plan goes magically according to plan, then in the seventh year, somebody is finally going to be able to get broadband. But they're going to have paid 3% more on their electric the first year, 6% more on the electric the second year, 9% more on their electric the third year, 9% more on the fourth year, 9% more on the fifth year, 9% more on the sixth year, and they're going to begin paying 9% more on the seventh year. All for the opportunity to purchase broadband. Just doesn't seem right. I think the proposal needs to be vetted. I think what the county has asked for is that the city council would postpone a vote this coming Tuesday, June the 29th, and have a joint meeting of the county mayor, the county commission, the city council, and KUB to talk about some of the issues and see that this is properly vetted out. I'm not sure on the 2 days before this proposed city council meeting. I don't know when you're going to be hearing this. You could be hearing this 2 years into the 2 years into the broadband install. So I'm not sure that 2 days in, that 2 days before this meeting, that City Council will postpone. I think they look pretty hell bent to do what they want to do, or at least the city mayor has already endorsed it. So we'll see how it goes down. But it's just they're relying on KUB's relying on the fact that the state comptroller says it's a feasible plan. The TVA says it's a feasible plan, but at the end of the day, I don't think the comptroller really looks at. They just look at the plan as whether or not it's feasible. And of course, your state comptroller will say, "Yeah, you're borrowing, 9% over 3 years off the backs of your electric customers to upgrade your electric grid, and then you're going to create this fiber, and you're going to charge $65 or whatever." So I don't know that the comptroller necessarily looks at the impact of each individual consumer. So that's kind of where we're at. A lot of things going on in the city and county this week. There's a new memorandum of agreement that I haven't had a chance to look at yet that the school board will be talking about on Wednesday, but they're not going to vote on it until July the 14th. So that will be for a future podcast. But really just want to take the time to kind of talk to you about KUB, because really haven't had much of a chance to talk to you about KUB and kind of where that whole situation started from my perspective, and where that situation is going from my perspective. We'll see. I think the mayor and the city council want to do what I would consider a minority, and when I say minority, I'm talking about a small number of people have been asking for. And those are folks that just haven't really had the opportunity to be exposed to high-speed internet. A lot of that's coming from South Knoxville. A lot of that's coming from northeast Knox County. And those folks just haven't really had the opportunity to be afforded high-speed internet to the extent that they feel like they need to be. There's a great debate that Comcast is just a large conglomerate that's just bilking their customers and not doing right by the customers. Here's the thing: big business is big business, big government's big government. As I've said before, it's all in which crook you want to trust. Do you want to trust the private sector, or do you want to trust the government? And government bureaucrats, I'm not convinced that's the route to take. But that's for each person's own take on that, and each person will have to decide how they want to handle their views on that. So thank you for tuning in to the Brian Hornback podcast to talk about Knox County, the Knoxville Utilities Board, and their idea of high-speed internet. Do ask you to go to brianhornback.com, visit the website on a regular basis. We've got a lot of great corporate folks that advertise there that would love to have your business, and whether that be if you need to sell your home or buy a home, we've got the Just Homes group on there. If you need insurance, we've got interagency insurance on there, the elections are kicking up, so we have Chancellor Eddie Pridemore on there, who's running for another term as Chancellor on the Republican ballot in May of 2022. We have Justin Biggs running for trustee on there. We have Kyle Ward, who's the current Knox County Commissioner from the 4th District on there. We have Matlock Tire on there if you're in the need for tires or auto repairs. So we got a lot of folks on there that want your business, that we believe are the right people to send you to. So check out brianhornback.com, and we greatly appreciate your time. So this will end episode 36 of the Brian Hornback Podcast. Y'all have a great week and a great day whenever you listen or see this. Thanks.